Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Saturday Night Live. Not done one of these for a while, looking forward to it. Are you ready? The Premier League is back and Man United are back tomorrow against Liverpool. We'll be talking about that. All your questions, it's a Saturday night Q&A. Looking forward to it. We're not getting through the international break anymore, so let's get those questions in. But look, I wanted to start off on, are we ready? Are we actually ready for what's coming tomorrow or what's coming in the next few weeks? I think the international break does give you that sense of security because there's no accountability, there's no results. And actually, when you look at the Premier League table today, it ain't looking that good for us. We haven't played, but it just shows you that a couple of wins and a couple of losses and a couple of wins and a couple of losses, they ain't going to help. This Premier League is competitive and it isn't going to help. I really genuinely think it isn't. This is where we are in the league table at the moment. We're in 11th place, which, 10 points. Obviously, we're 9 points off the top because that's Arsenal. But it's the volume of teams that are above us. People go, oh, well, only 6 points off second place. It's 2 wins, we're second place. But it's the volume of teams. There's 10 teams above us. 10 teams above us. And I think it's just a sign of how reality could strike us very quickly. Whether it's tomorrow, whether it's Brighton, whether it's Forest, whether it's Spurs, we have to find consistency within this league. 100%. We've got to find consistency. And that has been the holy grail for United for many years now. And that's the thing for me. I think obviously I'm massively excited about the game tomorrow against Liverpool. And I think anything's possible. We've seen that today. Some teams post-international break, not at their best. Arsenal, Man City in the first half against Everton. There's a lot of teams not, lost their rhythm, and we could take advantage of that, of course. But even tomorrow is only one game. I think when you go back to that league table, one win against Liverpool puts us on, seventh? No, puts us 8th. Even if we win tomorrow, we're only 8th. And then you've got to follow it up. And I think that's what's becoming abundantly clear about the Premier League over the last couple of years, is that you've got to be consistent, and we can beat anybody on our day, and we can knock Arsenal out the cup, we can go to the Etihad and win, we can beat Chelsea, we can beat anybody on our day, but that consistency is going to have to kick in. That is the most important thing. If we want to climb this league table, then we have to have consistency, and that for me is the big ask. Of course it is. As Custard says, it's not good enough to just go and get a result against Liverpool. You have to follow it up. And that's going to be the challenge over the coming weeks, because I look at some of the results today and I didn't really expect Brighton. I mean, they're a very inconsistent team. We've obviously got them next week, but I didn't expect them to beat Newcastle. They did. Obviously, Sunderland were bloody rubbish against us. I mean, I don't... Look, I've only watched Sunderland once this season, and that was the game against us. And I thought maybe it's an encouragement. Maybe Sunderland played well and we were excellent, but they go and win again today. Like they've won. I mean, how many wins? Sunderland have got 4 wins. They've got 14 points. They're the worst team we've played, in my opinion, but they're back. They win again. Chelsea find a way to win against a crap Forest side, obviously, but, they didn't have Enzo. They didn't have Casido starting. They didn't have Cole Palmer. They go and win 3-0. Spurs. And this is the thing. I think it's almost... I would put my hands up and say, maybe I'm not acknowledging it. Go and get a result against Liverpool tomorrow and we're back. Like Bruno says, we win a game, we're winning the league. We lose a game, it's a crisis. But the big problem we've got is it is not having a midfielder. It is losing to teams like Brentford. The big problem we've got is that this league table is already showing us, and let's not forget, Bournemouth should be on 17 points. They were very, very unlucky to concede that late penalty at Palace. And they're 7 points ahead of us. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's not about winning against Liverpool and going, oh, look at where we are. It's getting past these 10 clubs ahead of us. How many of those clubs are we actually going to work our way past over the next few weeks? Well, we can sit here and go Everton, maybe Brighton, maybe Palace. But without consistency, it just won't happen. And I think the league table now, you can see it at the bottom with Wolves. They've been cut adrift. They're 5 points from safety. It won't take long for it to start to become a bigger and bigger task. The time is now. for Man United. And the question is, are we ready? Because Liverpool tomorrow, obviously it could be a loss and it could be an acceptable loss. We don't know. There's some circumstances. But we've absolutely got to find some consistency because this league table is not going to lie and it's unforgiving, of course. We should train like Arsenal. Boring but effective, says JB. Well, I literally said this on the watch along earlier. You know, I think Sesko at the moment is performing better than Gyökeres, and I saw a lot of people saying, well, we dodged the bullet with Gyökeres. And I'm sort of like, we're not even in the top half of the table. Arsenal are top of the league. Is that player FC over common sense? I mean, Sesko is doing better than Gyökeres, but Arsenal are top of the league. I don't really give a shit about the moral small win of going, ha, 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 we got Sesko. You wanted Sesko and Gyökeres. You chose the wrong one. We've got Sesko. Up yours, Arsenal. That's such a small argument. The main argument is look at where they are in the league and look at where we are. I'd be Arsenal tomorrow. I'd be Arsenal tomorrow, every day of the week. I'd take being top of the league by 3 points, playing how they're playing. And you know, it was very boring from Arsenal today, but I'd take that. I mean, an organised team that's solid and consistent. We have to find consistency. We have to. I want Man United to play well, consistently, and win titles, but we've got to find that consistency, 100%. I don't care how we win. I want to win, says Mrs. Stone. Do you think we will win, Mark? Oh, it's the $1 million question. I think how I feel tonight. Well, how do you feel tonight? I mean, it's nice just to do a show that we're not talking about bloody Amorim out or transfers or Amorim in or Bruno. I quite like the traditional Saturday night. Let's just go Saturday Night Live and let's riff it and see how it goes. I think we're comfortable as a community after all these years to be able to do that. So chuck your questions in. Anything you like, we'll answer it. But look, how do I feel about the game tomorrow? I still feel that Liverpool will win it. Like Mrs. Stone says, I don't care how we win tomorrow as long as we win. I'm not asking for a win tomorrow. I'd love a win tomorrow, but I think a draw would be a good result. Obviously, we'll lose ground, but we can make that up against teams like Brighton and Forest in the next 2 games, and it's a marathon, not a sprint. So I think it's really important to look at it like that, and that's why I mentioned the league table at the start and why it's been a bad day for us with the likes of Sunderland and Brighton winning, because everyone else has a game when we have a game. And if we're inconsistent, it gives everybody else an opportunity to be above us. So it's really important to acknowledge that if we draw against Liverpool tomorrow, the win will be the confidence we take from that if we go and win the next 3 games. If we win tomorrow and then we lose to Brighton, it means nothing. It's 3 points won, it's 3 points lost. If we lose tomorrow and then we start to collapse and the season starts to collapse, we'll spend a lot of time in the bottom half of the league. So tomorrow is important, but to me, it's more about what we do with it. If we draw tomorrow, can we build on that? If we win tomorrow, can we go and win again? If we lose tomorrow, can we react to that? And I think that is where consistency is built from, not from one game. How am I feeling about tomorrow? Really excited. I mean, I've been into all sorts of games over the years against Liverpool. I've seen crap Liverpool teams beat us. I've seen Man United beat good Liverpool teams. We've seen it all. We've seen Gerrard sent off in 60 seconds. We've seen Wanfield. We've seen good performances at Anfield. We've seen part the bus performances at Anfield. We've seen 7-0 thrashings at Anfield. So we've seen it all. There's nothing that can shock us tomorrow because we've seen it all. We've won, we've lost badly, we've drawn, we've been boring, we've been entertaining. I'm excited. I think this game, to me, is always the most stressful game. I've said it many times. Like Anfield, whether I'm watching it at 12:30 on a Saturday in my living room, or I'm doing a watch along with you, or I'm down a pub, I'm stressed. I'm wired for this game. You know, I'll be stood up tomorrow. I won't be able to sit down. It's a stressful game because it means so much. It's our biggest rival and it's at their ground, and that's hard. I think it's a big game when it's at Old Trafford. Of course it is, but at least you feel the security of Old Trafford sometimes. I think at Anfield you're going into the Lions' Den, so it's a big game. But I wouldn't say it's nerves. I'd say it's excitement. You know, and not excitement because I think we're going to win, but excitement because these are the games where people need to turn up. You know, you can't turn the switch off at Anfield, even though we did in the 7-0. You have to turn up in a game like this. There's nowhere to hide in a game like this. I think you learn a lot in a game like this. So I'm excited about it. And tomorrow, that will be my sole focus. I'll find it very difficult to do anything else. Like, I won't be doing any other watch-alongs or anything like that. I'll just be focused on that game tomorrow. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But as I say, anything is possible. Thank you very much for your super chat, Rory C. He says, how do we get consistency, though? Is it a motivational issue? Grimsby, for example. I put that down to arrogance. Yeah, I mean, look, we can crave consistency. We can say we need consistency. Absolutely. I think consistency comes from a multitude of things. I think it comes from a stable ownership with a vision that is understandable and a consistent message. I think it comes from a manager that is consistent and respected and trustworthy to the players and the fan base. And I think it obviously comes from players who want to put a shirt on and give everything in a composed way every week. And those three areas I've spoken about there, we're chaotic at. We are chaotic at. And I think, you know, you can even say your leaders in your team. There's no point having a captain who is erratic. There's no point having a senior leadership team who perform inconsistently themselves. If you have a leader and they're inconsistent, you can't moan if the team is consistent. So I think it's more than one thing. It's a multitude of things. And you know what? To be fair, I look at Arsenal. They're consistent. They may not be the best team to watch at times, but you know, they're consistent. They're a consistent threat from set pieces. They're consistently good defensively. I mean, they always concede the least goals in the Premier League. They've got 7 or 8 players that week in, week out are putting in 7, 8, 9 out of 10 performances. Very rarely an average performance. And we're talking about Gabriel, Raya, Saliba, Timber, Saka, Rice. These players, more than half of their team, week in, week out. This is where you build consistency. And you look at Arsenal under Arteta, they didn't have that. When he took over, the club was a mess. A little bit like we are now, can beat anybody on their day. A few superstars, a big reputation. You know, the Ozils, the Aubameyangs, and you know, a few shit players. If we're being honest, what did he do? Cleared it out, rebuilt it. So it can be done. It can be done. You know, you look at people like Liverpool and Arsenal and Man City and Chelsea to a certain extent, and you go, well, we can't do that. Well, you can. Klopp did it. Arteta did it. But what they did was clear the shit and rebuild it. And I think United, after that Europa League final, that was the opportunity to clear the shit and rebuild it. And we sort of went, let's pretend to clear the shit with the bomb squad that weren't even here. And let's pretend to build a team by buying 3 forwards and nobody else. And that's the problem. It's always a halfway house with United. It's never the clear out. So if you've got a room full of shit and you clean half of it, the half of it looks really good, but still the room's got shit in, you know? A win tomorrow would be excellent. Early birthday present for me for Monday, but I would be more than happy with a draw, says Dane. Yeah, I mean, I think I've been asked that question before many a times. Would you take a draw tomorrow if it was offered for you today? I think it'd be stupid not to in a game like this. I very rarely would say that. I don't think I'd be taking a draw at Old Trafford, but at Anfield, the circumstances of the game, they're the champions. They've lost their last 3. They're at home. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think if we concede first in that game, in the first half, I think we're in trouble. I think we'll really be in trouble because the noise will go, whoosh, the players' confidence for Liverpool will go, whoosh, and we'll be in trouble. So I think ideally we score first and we frustrate them, or we don't score first and we frustrate them. But if they score first, I think it becomes a problem. And look, I expect us to go there, park the bus and counter. And I think if we don't do that, we're very naive. I'm Amorim out, says Shahin, but he's generally done well against the top 4. He has. Carl is a legend. He says he's gifted 10 memberships. Shout out to Carl Middlecoop. Also, it's his birthday weekend, hoping for a United win. Come on, you Reds. Well, happy birthday, mate. And let's hope that they can deliver for us tomorrow. Scourge says, you know it's Christmas time when the jumpers are out. Mark, also, what's your prediction for the next 5 games, Mark? I tell you what, mate, I'll talk about the next 5 games. I'm actually very proud that has stayed up. Normally, I've got 2 magnets for shirts, and they stay up. But that's a heavy knitted jumper. It's got 4 magnets on it. And before I went live, it was falling down. But it stayed up there. So I'm just not going to touch it until it falls down now. But yeah, if you want to get your Christmas jumpers, you can pre-order them now. They're a limited run as they are every year. And I think it's the best one we've ever done. If I'm being honest, I'm very, very happy with it. Obviously, I was involved in the design process. We changed a couple of things in it, but I'm very happy with it this year. So get yours. We do ship them worldwide. Go through the link in the description, or just go United Stand Shopify. Great stuff. What are my thoughts on the next 5 games, Scourge? Off the top of my head, I think I know the next 5 games. Remember, Q&A. We'll do a Q&A now, Saturday night. Eve of a big game tomorrow. Get your questions in. Laid back community, the best community. Thanks for joining me live, everybody. If you're not watching live, thank you as well. So next 5 games: Liverpool tomorrow, Brighton at home, Forest away, Spurs away, Everton at home. Brighton and Everton have got to be wins, 6 points. Liverpool tomorrow, maybe we take the point if we can, 7 points. Forest away, you've got to win, 10 points. Maybe Spurs. I don't know. Maybe we lose against Spurs. How have I got that right? Brighton and Everton we win, that's 6. Forest we win, that's 9. Yeah, I think 10 points from 15 would be good. Yeah. Drop 5 points, 10 points from 15. That'll have us touching distance of top 6. So I think 10 points from the next 5 games. So 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss is acceptable. And it's achievable. And it has to be achievable because at some point we've got to start becoming a threat. We've got to start becoming consistent. And also we're only playing 1 game a week. So Josh says no chance. I wouldn't say there's no chance. I mean, looking at Forest today, we would have beat them if they kept Ange. It's a little bit unfortunate that we'll be playing their new manager, but they might make a mistake again. They might appoint the wrong guy again. So I think we've got to be looking to beat Forest. Everton and Brighton at home, you've got to be beating them. That's 9 points, and I'm sure we can get a point at Anfield or Spurs. So, yeah, all right, 3 wins and 2 losses. 9 points instead of 10. I'll take that. We've got to get 3 wins from the next 5. Absolutely. Trev says we never beat Brighton. Look, Brighton will take care of itself next week, but I think Brighton are gettable. I think at home this season we look a bit better. So, thank you very much for that. Appreciate your comments anyway, Scourge. We've also had a super chat from LMP, and Garfield's gifted 5 memberships, mate. Thank you. Actually, Garfield sent me an email earlier saying that he wants to set up a GoFundMe for the charity that we do, for me to fly out to South Africa and go in a shark cage. Mate, you got no chance. You've got absolutely no chance. It won't happen. As explained on a previous stream, it just won't happen. Do you think we should have changed captains beginning of the season since Bruno was 1 foot out of the door, says EG? Good question, easy answer, no. I think if Bruno Fernandes is staying at the club, you have to give him the captain's armband, because if you keep Bruno and take the armband off him, it's like demotion. If you're at work and you're a manager, and then your boss comes in and says you're not a manager anymore, you're back working with everybody else, and they're the new manager, you've got a problem. You know, you have got a problem, whether you like that or not. So, yeah, I think it's, yeah, you can't, I don't think you can. I'm not saying I think Bruno's a good captain, but I don't think you can demote him. I mean, it's quite unique that what happened with Harry Maguire, and he bounced back from it quite well. But I think Bruno's too big a character that you could take the captaincy off him, really. Richard Whiting says, work rate and bravery needs to be consistent in every game. Even if we haven't got the right players in position at the moment, discipline is the foundation. I think the hardest challenge for consistency for Manchester United is that we still have a core of players who are very experienced in being inconsistent. There are names we can name who have lost and won. And won and lost. And they've won games where now we need to be consistent and then they go and lose. And that's the biggest problem. It's surprising that within our leadership team, there's 4 or 5 players who've done what I've just said there. How can they suddenly become something that they're not, you know? Well, I believe we will win, says Wayne Finnegan. We are stronger going forward than we were last season. Last season we should have won. Liverpool are shocking at the back. Confidence from Wayne Finnegan there. Great stuff. Great stuff. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. What was your favourite bit about Ireland, Mark, says Scourge. Also, did you ever go to Wicklow? I think I went to Wexford. I don't remember going to Wicklow. My favourite bit about Ireland, the socialising really. Going out, Dublin, yeah. Carl Middlecoop says, tried to order the jumper for sunny South Africa, but there was no option. Wow. I thought we did everywhere, mate. I didn't know that. So there you go. You live and learn. Sorry about that. Rohith says, I'm not confident for tomorrow's game. Fans are confident, but it's looking bad. Vision is bad. Which team in the Premier League extends contracts for Bruno, Maguire, and Shaw? You know what? If you want a bit of confidence from me, I think Liverpool will win, but I think it will be close. I don't think Liverpool will batter us, and I actually think it will be a close game, and we could get a draw, and we could win 1-0. Where I would take confidence tonight ahead of the game is that we are hard to break down when we play a back five. We saw it against Arsenal when we went down to 10 men in the Cup in January. We're a hard team to score against, no matter how good you are. I watched Arsenal today against Fulham's low block. We're a hard team to score against when we set up to defend. Now, as United fans, we don't like that. So when we're playing the likes of Brentford and the Fulhams and, you know, the Burnleys and the Sunderlands, we want to see United attacking. But tomorrow they've got license to sit back and nobody will criticise them for it because you're at Anfield. So I would take confidence in that. I actually think that for us, it's a positive that we have a back five and we will sit and make it hard for them. I think Liverpool are going to struggle to break us down. I do. And also, we'll then have... The dream game for Man United tomorrow is we defend deep, we defend in numbers, they struggle to break us down, and then as they push forward to try and break us down, they leave space for the counter. That's when it becomes very interesting. LMP says, I'm happy we finally scammed Chelsea for a player. Football intelligence means he'll never make it in this league at the highest level. Look, I mean, it's early. I know we're talking about Garnacho. It's early days. It's early days in relation to Garnacho and whether he's going to be successful at Chelsea. Ultimately, we've made 40 million quid out of it. Ultimately, I think, I've said on this show numerous times, I think he's the player with the highest ceiling at Manchester United. But evidence changes things. And he was crap today. I watched that game. He was crap. But he's in an environment where he's obviously, you know, it could get better for him. But realistically, we need to move on from that, don't we? We've got our own problems to solve, and you know, Garnacho's not going to be part of that. The funny thing I did hear today was that Garnacho was getting more game time under Amorim than he is at Chelsea. Hooked at half time, of course, today. Gogo says, I can see Sesko having a good game at Anfield. I think apart from the kickoff at 4:30, I think the next most interesting part about tomorrow is when the team news comes out at 3:15. There's a lot of things I'm expecting. I expect Lemens to start. I expect Sesko to start. I think Cunha will be on the bench for Mount. Right wing back's going to be very interesting. I think he'll want to get Delo in this team. So will he drop Dorgu and put Delo left wing back and put Ahmad on the right, or will he drop Ahmad and go with a back five? Look, what I just said there is we're going to sit and the best thing we can do is sit and defend in numbers and counter. It probably makes sense to play Delo and Dorgu in that sense, or Mazraoui if he's fit. But I think there's going to be some interesting things. Monkey says, watch him pick Binder. If he picks Binder tomorrow, I'd question whether he really wants this job. Like, it would be... A manager should never listen to fans. You have to have your own opinion. But he's on thin ice. You know, the scales of Amorim in, Amorim out are like that. And if he dropped Lamens for Binder tomorrow, I'd have to be honest. I'd be like, right, you want a manager where you feel you're thinking the same things, you're walking the same path. And if he did drop Lamens for Binder tomorrow, I'd sort of be like, I don't get this. I don't understand this. I'm absolutely convinced it will be Lamens starting, though. Absolutely convinced, yeah. There'd be no reason not to. There'd be no reason not to at all. What would your starting 11 be, says Q? My starting 11 pretty much picks itself anyway. Obviously, Lamens in goal. I would go Delo and Dorgu as wing-backs, or Mazraoui if he's fit. You're going to get... Luke Shaw's probably going to have to play. Yoro and De Ligt. Front three, I'd go Cunha and Burmo and Sesko. Midfield two, I mean, you're going to have to put Bruno in there. And I'd probably go Agate, to be honest with you. Yeah. I've been enjoying these Bundesliga games. The refs barely get involved. Also not expecting anything from these United players tomorrow. Too inconsistent. Look, Aiden, thanks for your super chat. I genuinely do think we've got more chance of Man United playing well and turning up tomorrow at Anfield than Brentford. I don't see any reason why they won't turn up tomorrow. How many times over the years have we said, oh, it's a big game where everybody's watching, they'll turn up. FA Cup finals, you know, Arsenal in the Cup. We have a reputation, way before Amorim, going back to Van Gaal, of turning up in these games. And I think that's the classic fair weather fan. You know, that's the classic statement. Oh, it's all right doing it on a sunny day at the Emirates, but can you do it on a cold, wet night in Stoke? And that's Man United. That's what it means when you say, I can beat anybody on their day. Because by definition, when you say we can beat anybody on our day, that means you don't beat everybody on their day then, do you? Because you wouldn't say that. That means that, yeah, you can win today, but you can also lose. And we have this strange ability to turn up when it's a big game and then not. And look, I've said it so many times to you. The one that always stands out to me is 2-0 down at the Etihad at half-time and winning 3-2 in the second half. And then you're like, oh, yeah, we've beat Man City. We're going to win the league. Next week, West Brom at Old Trafford, we're going to get relegated and do get relegated, and we lose. And that's United. I just think that those two results exemplify what we're all about. Absolutely. If Delo is out, can we win without his long throw? It says, oh, God, I forgot about his long throw. Yeah, I'm not. Look, I know it worked. I know it worked against Sunderland, but I don't like seeing a right back running over to the left side of the pitch to launch a long throw in. But maybe that's what Slot was talking about when he was talking about teams playing with, you know, direct football. I honestly thought they'd turn up for the derby, so I don't even know with these players anymore. We did turn up in the derby, though, Xander. We did turn up in the derby. What happened in the derby was we turned up for 25 minutes. Bruno lost his man. They scored a goal, and everybody lost their heads. But we did turn up in the derby. I definitely feel that we did for 25 minutes, but our heads went. What I would say about this season, though, and it's probably not been picked up by many people, is we can't be conceding first. It goes bad for us when that happens, especially away from home. And well, Arsenal scored first and we lost. We scored first against Fulham and we drew. We scored first against Burnley and we won. We scored first against Chelsea and we won. Brentford scored first and we lost. And then we scored first against Sunderland and we won. So yeah, the reputation this season is if we concede first, we're in trouble. But what I did notice about Brentford and Man City that worried me a little bit is that Brentford could have been 5 and City could have been 6. So what does that suggest and show? It shows when we go behind away from home, we show an ability to implode. Like that Man City game could have been 6. When we were 3-0 down, we got really, really reckless. And same in the Brentford game. I think that could have been a lot. So I think we've got to be very, very wary. I mean, we can't concede first. But if we do concede first, I'm saying this now. If we do concede first, I don't want to see us implode. I think that's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. That 7-0 game, I never want to see it again. I don't want to see a 5-0. I don't want to see a 4-0. We've seen too many of these over the years because our players implode. Whatever happens tomorrow, there might be a dodgy penalty in the first 2 minutes. In some ways, we don't need this, but in another way, we do. We need to lose a game 1-0. Like, we need to go behind and keep it to 1-0 through hard work, organisation. And people will go, you're mad. And I'll go, no, I'd actually be impressed by that. If we went 1-0 down and then defended really well in a difficult circumstance, like we did against Arsenal in the FA Cup, we need to be able to do that on a regular basis because we can't be imploding anymore. We've got to show something new. Emily Derry says, thanks for your super chat, Emily. She says, we've had several player interviews saying what they think we want to hear, but words are cheap. It's time the performances match the talking. Yeah, I mean, look, I do think that in some ways we might be overinflating the importance of the game tomorrow. But then in other ways, I think, well, no, we're not. It is Liverpool. They are favourites. But for us, we're on our own journey. And you can't just lose tomorrow and go, well, it's Liverpool, because they're our biggest rival. And also, we finished 15th, we're 10th. We're sort of going to start being left behind if we lose tomorrow. We'll be definitely in the bottom half of the league after 8 games. So that's a quarter of the season gone. Just under. So I think that we have to see something tomorrow. Even if it's a loss, we have to see some character. We have to see something. You've got to take something away from the game. Now, people think that's a point or 3 points, but I actually think we need to take something away from the game, even if we lose. Something that's tangible, that we can go, we can work with that. Because you can't start a project without it. It'll be difficult to beat Liverpool, says Mitten. I think we're capable of doing it. We just got to, you know, show some consistency. Jay's gifted a membership. Thank you very much to Jay. You're an absolute legend. I don't think Mazraoui's going to be fit, Aaron G. I mean, just to be topical for a moment, Amorim did mention injuries, and he said that with Martinez, he hopes to have him back this week, training with the team. That's his. The way I understand that, and from what I've been told, that's like training contact. So I still think he could be. I'd be surprised if he's in for Brighton. Let's put it that way. Mazraoui, I got the feeling he's not back either. So I wouldn't be expecting either of those players to be involved. Well, certainly not Martinez, but I don't get the feeling that Mazraoui is going to be involved tomorrow either, to be honest with you. Thank you very much for that. Patrick, you've gone forever. Thank you very much. When we win, do we get another Liverpool in crisis? Says Red Alton. I have promised to do a video on That's Football, so I'm dreading what that could be if we lose. Players need to do the talking on the pitch and show passion tomorrow, says Iceman. Yeah, but as I say, I think it needs to go beyond that as well. I think it needs to be more than that. I think, well, the best way of me saying this is, would I rather beat Liverpool tomorrow, lose to Brighton, draw with Forest and lose to Spurs? So take 3 points from Liverpool, but then take 1 point from the next 9. So effectively I've got 4 points from 12. Or would I rather lose to Liverpool tomorrow, but show some fight, and then go and win the next 3 and have 9 points from 12? And that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's a big game tomorrow, but it means nothing if you then go and drop points in your next 3 games. I need to see something tomorrow. Hopefully it won't be a loss. But if we go and win the next 3 games, that's going to be more valuable, because ultimately I need to climb the league. I need to see consistency. And also, we've done very, very well tonight to not mention, well, I think Shahin mentioned it. We've done very well tonight to not really be talking about Amorim in or Amorim out, but it still stands over everything we're discussing. I want consistency. I want us climbing that league table. But there is another conversation that's not going to go away, the Amorim conversation. So he needs results. And yeah, I think it's the time to deliver is the next 4 games. I've never seen a collection of games be so important for Ruben Amorim. We're not talking about Ten Hag. We're not talking about Mourinho or Ollie. For Amorim, I think these next 4 games are going to define his future. Where he sits right now in 11th place with the full support of Sir Jim Radcliffe and the players, now is the time to start kicking on. In 4 games' time, he could be 15th again. Becomes a problem when United are close to 15th, because we will be 11 games in the next international break. You know, you're approaching a third of the way through the season. If we're not in the top half, the pressure will be there, as we know. Aaron G says, 100% Mark, but pray to the gods we can randomly get the win at Anfield. Will be 10 years if we don't. And also, if Van Dijk plays the way he played against Chelsea, we've got a chance, says David Campbell. And Marvin AM says, how has Ange Postecoglou been sacked twice before Amorim? Yeah, I mean, I did see somebody talking about that, and yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? But look, at the end of the day, I don't know what Forest were doing taking him anyway. So the only shame for us is that I did hope he was going to survive until we play them in a couple of weeks, because we've got Liverpool tomorrow, Brighton next Saturday, and then Forest away. I'd love to have played Forest with Ange. They were so shit today. And I watched them against Newcastle as well. I really wish we could have caught them. There's no guarantee with that owner that they won't go and get another shit manager, but I do look at it and I go, if they get it right, their next Premier League game is Bournemouth away, and then the first home game for the new manager is us. I don't like that. But you can't control it. It's a little bit unlucky, but you know, Chelsea caught them at the right time. Newcastle caught them at the right time. We might catch them at the wrong time. Look her down. That does keep it hot. That's been in there for 20 minutes. It's really hot. Does its job. Well done. That bloody burnt me tongue. We won't finish 15th. We keep ignoring the fact that we went all in for the Europa at the expense of the league, says Addy. I like your interpretation there, mate, that we... surprised I can still talk. I've just burnt my bloody taste buds. I like your generosity there, Addy, that you think we gave up on the league and that's why we were so shit. I would put it another way and say that we finished 15th in the league because that's about as high as we could finish. I don't think it mattered whether we prioritised the Europa League or not. There was 14 teams better than us last season. I think we finished exactly where we deserved to finish, to be honest. Jay has gifted a membership, I think again. Yes, he has. You're a legend, Jay. Jay Sean loves United. Thank you very much for gifting a membership there. Geordie's given us a super chat. He says, hypothetically, would you take... I just read getting stuffed. I don't want to get stuffed. Mark, hypothetically, would you take getting stuffed 3-0 tomorrow if it means we go and win the next 3 games? Sorry, if we beat Brighton, beat Forest and draw with Spurs. No, because that would be 7 points from 12, wouldn't it? Which I feel like... Well, then again, if you go and beat Everton, it's 10 from 15, isn't it? Which is exactly what I was saying. I don't know whether I'd settle in on that, really. I don't like the idea of tomorrow being a stuffing because it'll be a bad week then. I think losing to Liverpool in a respectable way is the bare minimum I would take if we then went and beat Forest and Brighton and got a draw against Spurs. But we're talking hypothetically, which is never reality. But I don't think it's acceptable to go to Anfield tomorrow and get stuffed. I think we need to be past that. I know we have been there and got stuffed, but how did that end up, you know? I think a loss is never acceptable for Manchester United. So if we're going to lose, there's got to be mitigating circumstances. I think we've got to be past sweeping under the carpet stuffings. Like, we can't be having stuffings anymore. Like, I know Man City effectively did stuff us, but we have to stop those. We have to stop those. You can lose games. You will lose games. Newcastle lost 12 and finished 5th last year. But we can't be getting stuffed because that's light switch football, isn't it? Oh, we might win this week and then we might get stuffed. We've got to stop that. I'm calling it now. Erik Ten Hag takes the Forest job and beats United, says Jack. I don't think he'll go. I don't think Ten Hag and Marianakos are going to get on that well. I don't think that's going to happen. Sagre says, cheers from Portugal, mate. Mark, thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. Brandon Smith, thanks for the membership call. Carl, up the Reds. Mark, you're a legend. Thank you, Brandon. Hope you're having a good Saturday night. And Stefano says, love you, Mark. You get a lot of hate and I'll never understand it. You seem to have a true passion for the beautiful game. Love you, brother. Well, thanks for the nice message, Stefano. All I would say is don't worry about the hate because I don't see it. I genuinely don't see it. I don't go looking for it. I post on X and leave. My mods do a great job for the community here. I very rarely see it. So, you know, I don't understand it myself, but I very rarely see it. So it doesn't matter to me. We've sort of created this brilliant system now where it's just really enjoyable because most of the comments is really good debate and a great community. So, yeah, I genuinely don't see it. Richard says, when you see the players laughing and joking around in training, does that piss you off or is it just me? Absolutely winds me up. I get what you mean, Richard. It doesn't massively bother me. So I imagine the scenario you're talking about is that you might have seen some pictures of the players this week smiling and laughing. And you look at where we are as a football club and you go, how bloody dare you? But on the other hand, they spend a lot of time together. They did beat Sunderland. They are mercenaries like every footballer. You know, very, very few footballers are fans of the club they play for. So they're paid to do a job. They're not fans like we are. So it's unfair in many ways to judge them like you would judge us. I wouldn't expect if we get beat 4-0 by Liverpool tomorrow to see you on a Monday, Richard, at work, making everyone a coffee and coming in with the Krispy Kremes, singing, doing the conga. I'd be like, you're not a real United fan, are you? Why aren't you fed up? But with players, it's a little bit different. And also, but where I do agree with you is it depends on your age, but we did used to have a set of players that if they were in this circumstance, they wouldn't be smiling and joking. They'd be absolutely furious and they would never be in this position because of that. So you wouldn't see Roy Keane and Gary Neville and Ryan Giggs and David Beckham doing that when they're 10th in the league because they'd be embarrassed to be doing that. And that's standards, isn't it? So I don't really have a problem with the players doing all the photos and smiling and that because that's where we are. And we are there because of them. So why would they not be smiling and happy and everything like that? Because that's what they're used to. What we were used to is a set of players that would never do that if they were 11th in the league, but they wouldn't be 11th in the league because they'd be higher up in the league. So it goes back to the consistency, it goes back to the culture, it goes back to the standards. We can't complain about how these players behave because they behave like players that are inconsistent. And until we change that, I don't mind seeing winning team photos when we're top of the league. I don't mind people having a good old laugh on Instagram and everything like that if we're top of the league, but we are where we are. So it doesn't really bother me because I just think that, you know, the people that need to solve that are not going to be the fans. Happy birthday to Arshad. That's coming in from Ayan. So happy birthday to you. JB says, wear the jumper for the game tomorrow. I mean, a little bit weird. I wore the jumper this morning because obviously the new Christmas jumper has just dropped. You can pre-order it now. I think it's the best one we've ever done. But I think if I wore it for Liverpool tomorrow and we got beat and little clips were going out of me in a bloody Christmas jumper, I'll get absolutely bantered. So, no, I think we'll just go for stand-up bridge, ready to go bridge, focused bridge. Thank you very much. The club's social media team are to blame for those photos. That stuff doesn't have to be posted. Yeah, but the social media team just want clicks and views so that they can show it to the shareholders and go, look at how many people are looking at us. It's a vicious circle, really. Yeah, exactly, they set the standard. Hope you're well, Mark. United Stand, great show as always, says Daniel Thompson. Thank you very much, pal. It's absolutely flown by this show. I tell you what, I wouldn't say I was worried because I don't worry about this community, but I didn't come into this show with any plan. It was just like Saturday Night Live, let's go live, let's have a conversation. Normally, 99% of the shows, it's like, I want to talk about this, and this. Tonight, I just wanted to talk. So I appreciate everybody who's got involved tonight. It's been very, very easy. Mark, if you were in charge of United's rebuild, which 3 players would you keep as the foundation to build around and why, says James. So I can only keep 3 and everyone else goes. This is a good question. If I can only keep 3, forgive me, because I can only keep 3. So I'm not saying I don't like Ahmad or I don't like Yoro or whoever I leave out, but I can only keep 3. So I think you've got to keep De Ligt. Yoro might be better than De Ligt in a few years, but right here, right now, De Ligt, mid-20s, best centre-back we've got. I'd be keeping him. And, you know, Yoro is potential, so I'd keep De Ligt. It becomes very difficult then because I look at the team and I think there's a lot of potential in there, but if I'm taking 3 right here, right now to build a team around to be ready, I need players that I can trust right here, right now. So I'm thinking of saying Bruno, by the way, and people will say you're such a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite. You're saying I can build a team around 3 players right now. Well, Bruno would be number 10. So why would I not consider that? So I would consider Bruno. Mbeumo, definitely. I think he, again, like De Ligt, is in the right age profile. For me, De Ligt, Mbeumo, and Cunha. They're the 3. Yeah. De Ligt, Mbeumo, and Cunha. I did consider Bruno. And obviously I do like Dorgu, Ahmad, Yoro, Mainu. You know, I like these players, Sesko. But if I had to build a team for today, and I can only keep 3, De Ligt, Mbeumo, and Cunha are ready to go today. They're ready to go players. They don't need any development. They're not too old. They'd be my 3. Good question. It's never going to happen. Completely hypothetical. But the question was, what 3 players would you keep to build a team today around? And I think those 3 players are ready to go. Yeah. Mazraoui's a good shout as well. Yeah. Anthony's got 2 goals tonight. We're winning tomorrow, says Evan. At least you didn't say Anthony's got 2 goals tonight. We made a mistake. We definitely didn't make a mistake. Right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Tomorrow, we obviously have countdown to kickoff. We have the watch along. I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to do a morning show tomorrow. I'll see how it goes because I probably will do a morning show tomorrow. But, yeah, I've got to get in the zone. I'll be in the... Tomorrow, I'm going to be in the zone. I'm going to be in the zone tomorrow. You know, I'll get up, go for a 10K run, cold shower, orange juice. No, I will be in the zone tomorrow. I'm going to be really wired for this game. Always the biggest one. Looking forward to it. Look forward to your company tomorrow on the watch along. Take care, everyone. Don't forget Christmas jumper behind me. Get your orders in while they're there. I don't actually know how many we've got, but quite a few have been ordered already. So thank you everybody who's done that. But it is a limited run. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. What a game. Let's get ready for it. Come on, United.